we are live. Sorry about the slight delay, people. As you can see, we're a slightly smaller panel tonight. Zippy will be with us at some point. He has work commitments, and the other two fellows are feeling a bit under the weather tonight. We have Rabbit to my right or left, depending on how you're looking at it, and Mr. Sub-Zero sat on the end on his phone.
How are we doing? Oh.
Right then, Rabbit, what are you using tonight, brother?
Okay, so I'm actually I'm back on my cold steel again. I love this mod with my Turk V2, and I'm dripping some Hunger Consume. It's like a golden flaky cereal, and I don't know where my other bottle of juice is, but I'm also using my Raptor tank, and I got it filled up with Prohibition riding shotgun. I'm a big bakery guy.
Yeah, I love that riding shotgun, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. I've got a mixture of riding shotgun and
syntax
in my billet box. Yeah, riding sinful.
That's the best.
And yeah, it is. It's really good. Oh.
Andy, what are you using, brother?
I've got, as I said, I've got my my Kirby's billet box with I've got some it's a mixture 50-50 riding shotgun and syntax in there. And then I've got my O-frame with the Apocalypse gear on top. I've got some of this toasted oil from the Thick Oil Coast, like jam on toast. I absolutely love this juice. I literally go for a bottle a week every time. And then I've got my Immortal Mods Team DNA with a Fatality, and I've got some fluffer in there from Liquid Sky. So yeah, I'm not really an RTA guy, but I really do like these fatalities. I've got to say, very, very impressed with them. Flavors awesome, like, you know.
Dude, I got that new those new Blottos in this past week, and I had to build like 6 of them for customers. Dude, those things have amazing flavor. I was super shocked. Vaping Bogan did a good job on those, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the same thing off a few other people that they're really good. You know, one of the things that bugs me about RTAs in general is the decks I find can be a bit restrictive to what coils and what builds you can put in them, which is why I like the Fatality, because of the postless deck, I can just put a big single coil in it. Do you know what I'm saying? I just put a big single coil in it, and then it just wicks so nicely. And, you know, your resistance is higher, so it's not draining your batteries and stuff. So it's, that's one of the main reasons I like it. But, you know, I'm not really a tank guy normally, but yeah, I really do like these a lot.
Oh. Very nice.
I'm
on my grip nade tonight, and I've got the big top cap on, as instructed by Mr. Sub-Zero. Yep. And I've stuck my Elite V2 on there, not the V3. Nice. I prefer the V2 actually. It's
I actually prefer the V2 myself to the V3. I love the Elite V2. It's an awesome RDA.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm dripping some Just Jam lemon sponge.
Nice.
And I'm also on the Smock RPM 40 again. And in there I've got some new stuff from Firehouse Vapes, the Pink Pyro in Salt Nick. But they only do it in 10 milligram, not 20. Which is a bit strange, but it's quite
it's 10 enough?
You know it seems to be, yeah. I mean, this thing's it goes up to 40 watts, but I'm only running it on 15, and it seems to be hitting the spot still. So
nice.
So
on my phone.
So Vinny, do you want to just go ahead and jump into it and talk about what happened this week and what the FDA is trying to push on us?
Yeah, I'll just basically, I'm not sure how many people are aware of this. There's a company called Have a Health, and they're releasing, or no, but they're not releasing. It's currently going through FDA testing and CDC testing, and they're releasing what they call the new generation of vaporizer. This thing, it's basically I think it's a sealed pod system, and one little container contains flavoring, and one container contains the nicotine. And they're trying to push this through the FDA and CDC testing to get it on prescription in the States. I found out today that the company has also registered in the UK, and they're pressuring the NHS into accepting this as well. And basically, it's big pharma moving into vaping. If the rumours are true, it's backed by some bloody big names, including Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Google, and the owner of Amazon. But I cannot find concrete information on that. But they are really, really pushing this and pushing it hard with the FDA and the CDC. It'll only be available on prescription. It's got a tracker device fitted in it. There's an app that goes with it that can track you and your usage. And basically, they're advertising it as a nicotine cessation device, not just smoking, a nicotine cessation, because it will be programmed to lessen the strength of the nicotine. I don't know whether there's flavors involved with it or anything, because there's very little information out there on it. But this is the big thing that it could be massive. It could completely ruin hobby vaping as well as everything else. But I suppose it depends how you look at it as well.
Yeah, Steve just nailed it. I was just about to say it's supposed to be super expensive too. And they're marketing it as a type of device that starts you off based on how much you smoke nicotine wise. And it apparently lessens the nicotine as you use it. And it's connected to an app. There it is, the Hale. And what freaks me out is it's got a Bluetooth, I believe, that connects to your phone, so it's constantly pinging your location.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That's a little sketchy, man.
Yeah. For me, I don't like that kind of thing at all. Anything that tracks my location, I don't want it to. Do you know, it's just privacy at the end of the day. The way I see it, it's just, but. I mean, so they're pushing this as a nicotine cessation device, not
it's nicotine cessation. They want it on prescription in the States and the UK.
Yeah, I mean, do you think the NHS will buy that over here, Lovini? I mean, like, you know a bit more than me about the way that they are. And
speaking on the local level that I deal with my local trust in the NHS and everything like that, it really wouldn't surprise me. Because there's trusts in Derbyshire and places like that now that are giving away free vape devices, free closed pump systems, just giving away to smokers because they're allowed to vape in the grounds.
Right, okay.
So if they can cut the cost of that by getting it on a prescription and then just giving it to the patients on the prescription, I can see it happening. I really, really could see it happening.
Stevie said he sent me a link to the investors of it, so I'll look into that this week and get some more information about the Hale so we can have it on the next show.
Yeah,
get some ideas of what's going on.
$225. I mean, I've only just seen that comment. That seems that seems a bit pricey, for a pod system. I mean, regardless of whether it's got Bluetooth or whatever. I mean, like, to me, that just seems a bit excessive. And it's just one of these things. A lot of people looking to move from smoking into vaping, they like to buy the cheapest possible device first of all to see whether they get on with it. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you're not going to go out and spend a couple of £100 or whatever on a new device, without even knowing whether you're actually going to enjoy it. So for me, that might, over here, obviously, with our free prescriptions and subsidized prescriptions and stuff, it might be different, but I don't know. There's a bit
I honestly think Stevie nailed it right there. It's a way for big pharma to get involved. So basically, you got these big tobacco run companies that are doing everything they can to crush, vaping for us. And then you have big pharma now stepping in to get involved in the industry. So they're looking at it as basically a way to take away our hobby side, like the part that brought us together as a community, our main focus, like for the majority of us, I mean, if you look at the check-ins and stuff that we do from my shop, you always see people there hanging out, having a good time. Like the community aspect is a huge deal for me. Like especially as a recovering addict, like it gave me so much focus on something that I never would have dreamed I'd have, and made so many friends and family out of this. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to take that away. They're trying to make it more like, you know, like when you smoked, you never went and hung out with people to show them your new pack of cigarettes or your new lighter. You know what I'm saying? Like none of that ever happened. Like, you know, what lighter are you using to light your Marlboro? You know what I'm saying? Like they're trying to take that away and make it more like, you know, like it was when we smoked, is my opinion.
I mean, the danger here that I see is when the TPD came through, there was a big thing whether it was going to be marketed as a smoking cessation device, or you know what I mean, smoking cessation method, or an alternative. Now
these are clearly aiming at nicotine.
Yeah. Now we got it through, and it ended up being an alternative because they said that if we market it as a smoking cessation device, then it would only be available through pharmacies, through, do you know what I mean? Through outlets like that. So that would literally, I don't know, if they bring that in, it's making me wonder whether they're trying to push it more back towards that direction, like you say, trying to take away the community side of things. I mean, I think that they've seen the way that everybody's come together.
Exactly.
All the stuff that's going on. I mean, I'm getting blocked from reading USA News reports and stuff like that.
As well.
You know, and like it's getting pretty, you know, like that's something I never thought I'd see was, you know, like being in the UK and obviously America, we're classed as like countries in the free world, you know, and I never thought that I would see that kind of censorship where, you know, they're stopping us from seeing, and it's the positive articles that they're stopping us from seeing because they don't want us to see them and share them, you know. So it to me, like, it really, really is like, you know, the old jackboot on your throat type scenario. Like, you know, are they just trying to take away our choices? Are they just trying, or are they just trying to make money, or both?
On the other side of this, I'm torn between it myself, because yes, it'll get people off the cigarettes, which is great, but how long are they going to use this device for? They're going to stay on that device. Is it flavored? We don't know anything like that yet. Are these people going to get these devices on prescription and then think, I want something that tastes a bit better, and go off and get a different vape?
Yeah.
And control the nicotine levels through that. I don't really.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a sketchy thing. Like, just thinking about it, because listen, we obviously all of us got into this because we wanted to quit smoking. So if it's actually a product that does that, like it successfully gets people off of cigarettes and then they can get off of the hail, like if that actually works, then I'm not so much against it. But I do not, like, don't take this wrong, I do not believe that the tracking thing is necessary. I don't think that it should have to hook up to an app. It's a freaking pod system. Like, that's crazy. Unless it's for, like, you know, like the Swell mod is, like, for tracking the mod in case you lost it or something. But I honestly feel like it could be good or bad. Like, it's kind of hard to figure out, you know, what it is at this point, because it's such a new concept. And I don't, like, at first when I seen it, I was like, you know, this might not be a bad thing, because it's almost like they're saying, we can't stop vaping, so maybe we should get involved and try to, you know, get something that, you know, something like our thing on the market. But the more I discussed it with people, the more I started to think, well, maybe they do plan on stopping vaping, and then this is something they plan on dropping once they get rid of all the hobby part. You know what I'm saying? Like, kill the shops, kill the lounges, because that's what it feels like. It feels like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to just destroy all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I got sent a device from Vape Dinner Lady this week, their new closed pod system. And yeah, I mean, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, on the face of it, you know, they do actually work pretty well. I mean, I did give it a try because obviously that's why it was sent to me, you know, and And what's the point in talking about something if you're not even going to bother trying it to see what it's actually like? And for a convenience side of things, I mean, they're marketing it as like it's equivalent to a packet of 20 cigarettes, and it's a disposable device, and they say you get like 300 puffs on it, and it's preloaded with either lemon tart flavor, smooth tobacco, or blue menthol. And I've got to say, for all my shit talking about tobacco flavors, it wasn't actually that bad. I've got to say it, as much as I don't want the flavors to be banned and everything, but that wasn't actually, it wasn't repulsive, which is what I've always found the other tobacco blends I've tried. But having said that, the other lady, as far as I'm aware, owned by British and American Tobacco.
They firmly deny that, though. I will just state that they have started to deny that.
Right. Okay.
Oh, hey, you know what? While I got my boys from across the pond on here, and I'm sure I got a lot of American viewers right now, I want to ask y'all a question, and I want y'all to just be honest with what y'all's opinion is. So we actually had somebody attack the Royal College of Physicians and basically say that that their studies are bunk, and that basically just saying that the studies that show vaping is 95% safer is bunk. So I want to hear your opinion, because as somebody who is educated and grew up educated, we've always in my family always looked at the Royal College physicians as like the top notch, like that's where you want to go. And most of I have family members that are in the medical field, and like that's a big deal to actually travel there and to study and work with them. So to say it's bunk, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that's like saying Albert Einstein was a moron. It's I don't get it.
Yeah, no.
Basically, the Royal College and Public Health England and the subsidiaries of the NHS and the National Institute of Clinical Excellence are all basically seen around the world as the gold standard of research.
Yeah, and they're basically calling it science now. Yeah, that's basically what they're doing. Like it's a bit like the whole Stephen Avery and what do you call it? The thing where they're saying that Catherine Zellner's site, do you know what I mean? Like the stuff that she's brought out, the evidence and stuff is junk science, and people can say that, and they can try and like say that these people that don't know what they're talking about or whatever, but it's funny that they seem to believe them right up until they've said this, right? Do you get what I'm saying? It's like everybody seems to agree with them right up until the point where they haven't, and now they're saying it's junk science. Well, all I know is they did a 7-year clinical trial, right? We had that. We've had that done in a 7-year clinical trial. That is not junk science. Do you know what I mean? That is not. Yeah. That's not bullshit. Yeah. That's a real thing. And you can only project forward. You know what I mean? Based on the information that they found. So in that 7 years, but I think 7 years is a significant amount of time. I think that really is a significant amount of time, and it is long enough for these people that are highly educated in this field to give their opinion. And the people that are now saying that it's junk science and this and that and the other, I mean, what are their qualifications?
Exactly.
This is what I want to know. What makes them an expert?
Exactly.
I just want to go back to something that Vic said earlier about these companies are going to want a return on their investments. I think that's why, Vic, they're coveting the governments. Yeah. Obviously, in America, they're going through the CDC and the FDA. And I've seen some evidence today that they're already sort of targeting our politicians here as well as people high up in the NHS, really high up in the NHS.
Yep.
And that will just snowball. If the governments get behind it, they will subsidise it. They will do. If the governments think it'll work and think it's a viable option, the governments will end up subsidising it.
Well, I mean, my sister, the amount of stuff for her medical conditions that she's on, she's fed through a central line, which you obviously know, Vinny, cost an absolute fortune. She's also on all kinds of fentanyl, the patches as well as the lozenges and everything like that. So, you know, our government's more than happy to pay for that, you know, if they need to. And like, that's not a cheap thing. The central line feeding is expensive, really, really expensive. You know, so our government will do that. And if you're on what we call tax credits or on a low income in the UK, you get your prescriptions for free. I know that's definitely the case in Wales. All prescriptions are free. Do you know what I'm saying? All prescriptions are free unless you've got private healthcare, you know, or whatever, and then you have to pay to see a private doctor and stuff and pay for the prescription. But like for me, any of my medication and stuff that I'm on for my disabilities and that, I don't pay a penny for it. And it gets delivered to the door by my by the pharmacist, and you know the government pays for all of that. And you can bet your bollocks to a barn dancer they are charging a premium for doing it. You know, and this kind of thing, I mean, like we've spoke about this before about, is it Logic that have got the prison contract in the UK, Vinny? Is it Logic?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, banned smoking in prisons in the UK, and one company, right, provides a cartomizer system to all of the prisons in the whole of the UK, which is an awful lot of people. You know, and like, yeah. So, you know, that sounds kind of like they're going along the same lines where they're just going to try and get one thing in and, you know, and try and stick it with that, because do you get what I'm saying? It's like, I'm worried that they're just trying to get it, narrow it down, narrow the goalpost down more and more and more and more. So only a few devices, only a few juice, do you know what I mean? Juice lines or whatever can actually get through. And I think when you look who's behind them companies, they will be tobacco and pharma company. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, so I hope our government doesn't go that way with it. I really hope they don't. But, you know.
There's more than one company got the prison contract.
Oh, right. Okay. Thanks, Vic. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it's just
Logic.
Yeah. I thought it was Logic that had them all the way in the UK, but obviously if they've got a different one in Scotland, the JAC Vapor, yeah, okay, but like literally, I mean, I looked at some of the figures and stuff, and they said it was something like 80% of UK prisoners were actually buying these devices. You know.
They actually do that. That's actually done here in Tennessee too, in the state that I live in the U.S. There's actually, it's either a prison or a jail. I think I'm pretty sure it's a prison. It's right here in Knoxville or near Knoxville, where they actually allow the closed pod systems in the prison to keep people from, you know, going crazy because they can't smoke cigarettes. It's like, that blows my mind. Like, how is that still a thing? You know what I'm saying? With everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Did y'all happen to see the report that the CDC released past couple of days? I think it was. Actually, it was Friday.
I saw something about the site. Like, was it some type of cyanide or something was found in the illegal vapor parts? I've seen that.
They released a report talking about the studies or the info that they have done for what's causing the illnesses. Obviously, they're still calling it e-cigs and vaping, but if you actually dig into the report and read it, I think it's like 80% total or something like that. I can't remember. There's a lot to read. I'm trying to scan through it right now, but it was a lot of them admitted to, you know, that they were using black market products, like, and the ones that didn't admit it, they didn't want to incriminate themselves. So they basically just said, well, I don't want to answer that. I mean,
it was something ridiculous, like 85% of them had admitted vaping to the THC.
And the crazy part is, like,
the
crazy part is, like, the majority of them claim that they've only been vaping for like 3 months or anywhere from a month to 3 months. Like, I've been vaping for 6+ years, like, and all I've ever vaped is, you know, regular juice on sub-ohm devices, and never had an issue ever. Like, you're telling me that no one like scratched their head and said, wait a minute, in the past 3 months people are getting sick, like maybe it's something they're vaping.
Yeah,
come on, guys.
it doesn't take a lot to add up. I mean, you know, was it the guy Josh that did the interview, the full Frank interview, where he said, yeah, you know, I've been using THC cartridges for like 4 years or something because he suffers from terrible migraines. And basically he went on then to say that he bought one off the street, you know, off some, you know, dealer, for want of a better word. And, you know, within that one cartridge, he said, looked like, you know, he got a little way down it and he could feel his throat. All his friends were saying his voice was harsh and stuff. And then next thing he knows, he's in hospital, medically induced coma. You know, and he came out low, and he had fair play to the guy because, you know, he spoke out and he said the truth of his truth. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he said that, you know, obviously he can't speak for all the others, but he can speak for himself. You know, and it's literally he linked it directly to this one cartridge that he bought that was black market, you know. And
Blank vapes, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, it's not just them. There's loads of them. There's dank vapes. There's what do you call it? There's LA confidential carts or something. There's quite a few different ones, like, you know, the thing. There's the cookies ones. I mean, you can just buy these. I've been doing quite a bit of research. You can buy them already in the packaging and everything like that. And just fill them up with whatever you want, you know, and they come in the packaging and they look legit. And everybody's saying like, oh, they come from California, so, you know, they're exactly, you know, they know what they're doing with weed. It's like somehow that because it being from California, that it legitimizes the weed. But who the hell said it even comes from California? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just because that's what they're saying, it might be shipped from California, you know, but it could be made in, I don't know, Washington for all we know, you know. I mean, like, there's been a lot of in the news as well of the people getting arrested for production of the THC cartridges and stuff like that. So it does look like, although on the face of it, they're trying to say that it's vaping as what you like, e-cigs as well, it does look like they are actually targeting these people now, with the, you know, that are making the illegal THC carts, which, you know, that speaks volumes to me because if they really didn't believe it, they wouldn't be going around arresting these people for it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but I honestly believe that that's right. Kingpen have been cloned and they're a genuine company. Yeah, there was another one as well I got told about that's been heavily cloned, and they actually stopped and they changed the name of their brand and everything like that because they were so heavily cloned. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was.
Well, we could do a PSA right now. Anybody that's watching, tell everybody that you know, or share this freaking video to everybody you know. Stop vaping THC cartridges that do not come from a reliable source. Seriously, like, it's super easy. If you're not purchasing it in a legal state from a fucking place that is licensed to sell them, stop vaping them. It's simple. Don't buy it from a guy on the street that's like, oh, no, it's cool. My cousin gets it from over here in Cali. You know what I'm saying? Like, go somewhere and purchase it from a actual licensed reseller. Like, be smart about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, it just...
It's going to be more of these deaths, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can just see this snowballing because at the end of the day, I mean, you get people that are prepared to buy these things off the street when really they could just mail order them from a company in a different state and have them sent to them, because I know that they do it. You know, they could literally get them and get them sent, or they could get a friend who's in the state. You know, I'm not suggesting anybody break any laws or anything here, like, you know, but you know, you can still do it safely if you want to. Get them from a legitimate place that's got the lab work that shows you how many parts per million of the solvents remaining in it, or, you know, get ones that are made from solventless extractions. You know, there are ways to do it. And this is one of the things I will say is that it's the same with CBD in the UK, which I use myself. I won't use it unless I've seen the lab work that shows it's an isolate, it's got 0% THC, and it is exactly what they're saying it is. You know.
And honestly, I want people to know that just because we're fighting for our industry does not mean that we are heartless and we don't care about the people getting sick or the people that are dying.
No.
Like, it's devastating. And I feel like not enough people are saying it, but I send positive vibes to those people and their families. And I hope that, they can help them get better and they can actually heal from this. It's horrible. And I think the majority are getting misinformation, and it's causing more and more people to get hurt, sick, or die. It's because of the misinformation. I think if they would have came out when it was 4 or 5 people and they said, listen, these people tested for THC. They admitted they were vaping cartridges. We need to stay away from street-bought cartridges and focus on what the problem is. Just been straight up from the get-go, then more people would have probably not died, because they would have said, oh, shit, look, it's the THC. It's not just vaping. Because believe it or not, a lot of people use those cartridges and they don't believe they're vaping. Like, they consider it, it's just a THC cart. I don't vape. I just use the little THC carts. You know what I'm saying? So when they see a fucking headline that says 6 people died of vaping in America, then every single person that vapes those is like, well, I'm fine. I don't vape. I just use the THC cartridge. And now we have 12, 13 more? Like, they have got to be smart about this, man. Like, we in my opinion, I feel like the media should be held liable on a lot of this. Like, that's just bad, man. Like, you should have came out from the get-go and been honest with people instead of trying to push an agenda. Like, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
But it's about public health. Like, give me a break.
In the States alone, there's apparently 50 million of these illicit, illegal cartridges in circulation. 50 million has been estimated in numbers.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, they make their way over here as well, and I know they've come from the US as well, and they've made their way over here, and obviously because in the UK we haven't got anywhere that sells anything like that. People have got, if they want to use them, they can either make them themselves or they can buy them off somebody else and hope for the best. My advice in that instance is buy yourself a pipe. And smoke some dry weed if you're that bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Or get some edibles or something. I mean,
at least that way you know what's in it. Like, it's just I'm just smoking flower. There's nothing. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know what you're putting in your body, don't do it. I've vape premium e-liquid because I know what is in it, so that's what I use.
Yeah, I mean, people have been vaping marijuana, cannabis for years in volcano vaporizers, Riser solos, and all these kind of devices, the G-Hit booms, the Snoop Dogg G-Pen or whatever, So like, people have been vaporizing cannabis for a long time, and they haven't had any problems doing it that way. So, like, this is something new, people vaping THC, but it's a new way of the delivery. Do you get what I'm saying? It's new way of delivery, and it's the contaminants that are in it. I mean, I've heard some real crazy shit about people saying that they think it's the government spraying the crops with planes, like basically going along the lines of chemtrail type bullshit. Do you know what I'm saying? They're saying it's the government, they're spraying the crops with vitamin E to make people ill on purpose. And it's like, yeah, okay, I'm just going to go get my tinfoil hat and see if I can walk off the edge of this flat earth that I'm on. Because that's basically, what they may as well be saying to me, because it's just bullshit, a lot of the stuff now these days, especially stuff sold in dispensaries and stuff, is not grown outdoors. It's grown indoors, controlled environment.
Hydroponics.
You know what I mean? Like hydroponics, or, whatever way they do it, organically grown, or, whatever. But they're doing that indoors. The outdoor grows, they're mainly for like caregivers and people that are, growing for themselves these days. I mean, like, I doubt that like the what they call the Emerald Triangle, the Humboldt region and stuff like that of California, all them outdoor grows and everything. The reason why people were going all the way out there and doing it hidden away from everywhere was because it was illegal and they didn't want to have it in their house or in their garden or in, do you know what I'm saying? So,
bro,
like, things have changed there.
I don't want to say anything bad about California, but if they legalize it in Tennessee and Kentucky, y'all will never hear about California again. I'm just kidding.
I mean, like for real, it's one of these things. You know, people like we get over here in Europe, like with Amsterdam being seen as the gold standard of the best quality cannabis that you can get and stuff, and it's just really not. It's average at best, you know, because it's no secret that I dabbled on the odd bit of cannabis in my time, like, you know, and I'm quite happy to admit that. But you know, Spain is pretty much decriminalized there as well. You have cannabis social clubs and everything, you know, where they're non-profit type. Do you know what I mean? They're non-profit type places that are just to help people so they don't have to go and buy off street dealers and stuff like that, you know? So, you know, it's one of the things.
I was going to say that's the crazy part about Massachusetts is, you know, marijuana's legal, but vaping is outlawed. Not just like flavors are outlawed, like vaping, like all together.
Here's the thing, you know, like, you know what I'm saying, Rabbit? Like this band in Massachusetts is quite close to my heart, literally. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, you know, I know this company, you know what I mean? I know them well. And, you know, it's like watching all of this stuff happen, you know, and seeing some people, I know their shops being empty, you know, of all their stock and everything like that. I mean, what are they getting reimbursed for that, or is it just being confiscated?
Dude, that's honestly why I've been in such a funk for the past couple of weeks, man. Like I've got really good friends in Michigan. I've got really good friends up in New York. I've got really great friends in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Like, and I'm talking to my friends all over in these states and just, you know, in tears because they're just like me. They're just like, you know, Vinny. They're just like the rest of us. We worked our asses off to build up what we have, and to have the government. The government, the people that are put there by us to protect us, come in and tell us that, hey, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Well, but why? Well, because it's killing people. Well, no, it's not. I know for a fact it's not. Yeah, well, we don't care. We're saying it is. Well, wait a minute. We have proof that it's not, though.
Technically, but so what?
Like it's in.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely crazy as far as I'm concerned.
Happened?
You know, you just cut out there a little bit, bro. I don't know what happened there. You just your voice dropped out completely. Yeah,
glitch, right?
They should ban vaping with it. You should get a real job instead of speaking drivel on YouTube scrounging. I don't know whether Cheech
We're not really talking about that, are we? So
I don't know whether Cheech is joking. I hope he is, because we're talking about serious issues here. Do you know what I'm saying? And like what your personal opinion of Vic might be, or what my personal opinion of Vic might be, has got nothing to do with anything. So if we can just leave the negative comments out here, we're trying to talk about something positive and that's important. So, you know, I'm all up for free speech and everything, but vindictive comments, no. You know, there's no need for that at all.
I mean, let's just get down to the bare science of it. The science of it is that it's been around for a very long time, longer than it's been in the U.S. It's new. It's a new technology to us. We're just coming in, you know, maybe 10, close to 11 years. So it's very new to us. But in the time that I myself have been in vaping, in the time that I have stopped smoking cigarettes completely and started vaping, my entire life has gotten better. And I mean everything, physically, emotionally. My wife can attest to this. Like it has brought a focus out of me that I've never had. Like it's completely changed my life, and it's been for the better. And regardless of what people think, I meet people all the time that some don't like vaping and some do. That's fine. I mean, that's your right to have an opinion, but it should also be my right to be able to choose. So if I don't want to smoke and I want to choose to vape, that should be my right. Just like it's anyone's right to say whatever they want about it, I should be able to choose to do it if that's what I want to do. And that's what we're fighting for right now in the US, is they're trying to take away our right to choose it. And that's the problem. The problem is we're not being allowed to make a conscious decision for ourselves to better our lives. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the whole thing is like, you know, I was trying to think of the words to say it. You know, it's like if you go to the doctors and they say to you, you got to take this medication, you know, that's going to make you better. They're not forcing you to do it. You know what I mean? You're like, nobody, they're not going to sit there and force feed you the pills or anything like that, you know, but it's there as an, you know, an option. But this now is being like, it's an option being took away from us. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, if I wanted to, if I wanted to get off all of my pain meds and everything like that, you know, here in the UK, I haven't really got the option of having cannabis-based medication to use instead, which arguably would be a lot better than the poison that they've got me on, you know. And I've been campaigning my doctors for 2 years to get me off this shit. And people can say, just stop it. But yeah, it's not that simple, you know. You know, it's one of these things. If I just stop some of my medication, I'd be in a really bad way for a while. And you know, at the end of the day, I haven't really got a lot of choice in that matter right now. But it's like with this, it's like taking away people's choice to a healthier option. And do you know what? Even if it was 5% healthier, forget the 95%. Even if it was a 5%, I'd take that. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd take that 5%. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like 95% is awesome, yeah. But even if it's 1% better than smoking tobacco, then for me that's a bonus. So, you know, that's where it lies with that. What we got?
I'm
here?
not sure if you guys have seen what's been happening in Ireland. Ryan, one of our viewers, has just asked if you've seen what's going on in Ireland. Basically, there's a senator in Ireland that is pushing for a flavour ban in Ireland. Literally just across our water here from the UK. Well, this part of the UK, kind of. Really, it's attached to a part of the UK. And yeah, there's a senator there. He's the former health minister for Ireland as well. And he's pushing for a flavour ban in Ireland.
And, and it was just posted about, it looks like today is what I'm reading. Yeah, on the journal. It's talking about, is there now an argument for banning e-cigs in Ireland? And I'm trying to scan through it right now.
I mean, you know, Ireland, Southern Ireland's not part of the UK, and like people might get quite offended by you saying that, Vinny. So, you know, it's like, Southern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, is part of the EU. You know, it's just part of the European Union. So, you know, if that goes on there, that's going to be something they're going to have to try and push through the European courts, right? They can't just outright ban it. One line of inquiry is that patients use tetrahydrocannabinol, THC, or cannabinol CBD products, both of which are found in cannabis purchased on the black market. The patients may have been exposed to a mixture of compounds that had a toxic effect on the lungs, but it's too early to point. Yeah.
So it's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing we're dealing with, but they're lumping it into vaping. They're putting a blanket over it. Like, I think that's what aggravates me the most about all this is the fact that so people have heard me say this a lot, and it's probably going to sound redundant, but to me it makes perfect sense. It's the same thing. It's the same argument with syringes. You know, it's the same argument with anything. Like, that's it. Say you have like a bunch of food trucks and they all sell, you know, hamburgers. They all make little hamburgers. But then you got one guy that's got a little cart over here in the alley and he's selling hamburgers, but it's tainted meat. So now we got a bunch of people sick from that one cart. But instead of going after the one cart, we're going to ban all food trucks that sell hamburgers because people got sick off of those hamburgers. Like, it's the same concept. So somebody used our delivery system to use drugs, illicit black market stuff, and get sick. And now all of vaping is the problem. I think that's the most aggravating part, is that you're lumping us in because we can't stop people from putting what they want in them. Like, that's the same thing as if someone uses a tobacco pipe to smoke weed. Like, think about it. Like, it's the same concept. Like, oh, but yeah, you know, they used vaping products, so we need to find a way to fix that. Okay, so let's go after the people that are using them to put the bad stuff in. Why are you coming after an industry that's using them to try to help people?
Evening.
Just bringing Zippy in,
Hey,
fellas.
Zippy!
Evening. Sorry,
How
I'm
you
like, yeah, not too bad, man. Just got. Go on.
Well, we were just talking about, you know, like they're basically say, you know, the thing in Ireland, they're trying to push through. Well, we've got a senator or whatever in Ireland is trying to push through for a flavour ban in Ireland off the back of what's going on. But as Ireland's part of the EU and TPD is a European law, you know, I don't see how they're going to be able to do that unless they push it through the European court. And I can't see that happening because if I'm honest with you, when I've been onto the mainland in Europe, they don't really, how can I say, they're not even as anti-smoking as we are in the UK. In a lot of the countries, I mean, in Holland, you can still smoke in nightclubs. They've got smoking rooms and stuff like that. You can still smoke indoors in certain places. Smoking's not really seen as this big antisocial, you know, health problem like it is in the UK. You know, that be because of their sort of generally chilled out attitude in Amsterdam and stuff like that, you know. But let's have a look. Vic saying here, flavour ban in Ireland would work. The TPD is a framework with an option for individual countries to add their own law. Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying, Vic, is that, you know, when I was over in they actually, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they can't stop them from doing it. Maybe they can try. You know, I really don't know. I would have thought that they'd have actually had to at least consult with the European courts and stuff. It's something that was brought in by them. I know that you can either add on and, you know, and take bits off, you know, to suit each country, but I don't know whether a flavour ban would work in that way in Ireland. I don't, and to be honest, I don't think the Irish people would really go for it. If I'm honest with you, because as a rule, they're not really a group of people that like being dictated to what they can and can't do. Do you get what I mean? It's like, you know, so, you know, if there's one thing that I will say is that if anybody's going to stand up and fight for it, it's going to be the Celts. You know what I'm saying? They're you know, they're going to fight. So hopefully it won't happen. But, you know, like I say, in other countries in Europe, the whole smoking and vaping thing is not seen on as in the same light as what it is in the UK. Like, over the last couple of weeks, I've been seeing some absolute bullshit from some people in the UK, right? I've been on Facebook talking to these people, and it's made me want to literally pull my eyes out of my head. Do you know what I mean? So I can't even see the shit anymore, because you got people that are claiming to be medical professionals, and they basically are an assistant that works for a private health company that probably, you know, mops the floor, do you know what I mean, in the hospital or something, and he's trying to say that he's a respiratory illness specialist or whatever, and he's coming out with all of this shit, and it's just bullshit, the stuff that he's saying. And one thing I've noticed as well is I'd say about 70-80% of the people that I've seen in the UK arguing about vaping being bad are smokers, right? They are smokers, yeah. They tried vaping, or they didn't try vaping. They decided it wasn't for them. So now what they want to do is try and put down what we're doing as a means to justify them carrying on smoking, you know, which I see that quite a lot, you know, is that, you know, if I'm out and about, I'll be vaping, you know, one of my kids' rugby games or whatever outside, I'll be vaping out there, and you'll have people that are in the smoking shelter, and they'll be saying, oh, you know, there's not enough information out there about vaping yet, and they're sat there smoking on a roll-up, you know, and I'm like, yeah, but there's a fucking shitload of information about that. So, you know what I mean? If you want to use that as an argument, then, you know, you're talking out of your fucking ass, because at the end of the day, we all know for a fact what smoking does. We know this for a fact, you know. So that's a stupid argument to me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that sort of level of thinking is just stupid. And some of the boneheaded comments that I've seen on Facebook in this last couple of weeks have made me seriously question like the general intelligence level of the fucking UK population, because it's just like, wow, you know, are these people really say, I don't know, are they trolling us or what? Is that what they're doing, or are they just, do they genuinely believe this bullshit that's coming out of their mouths?
I think a lot of them do genuinely believe.
I was going to say, I think a lot of them do believe it, man.
Yeah, I mean, they must do, because it's just, you know, and they'll argue like 70, 80, 90 posts, like, and they're arguing backwards and forwards and contradicting themselves and everything, and you know, and they're spreading this fake news as well. I mean, I've said about this before, but people really need to stop sharing propaganda in Facebook groups.
Did y'all see the interview that I shared of Greg Connolly on C-SPAN?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was really good. We need more of that. He's Greg
so well.
He is.
Really
he's a really good face for the American Vapers. Yeah, he's very educated on the matter, and I like the fact that he's out pushing and he's trying to get on every platform that he can to let people know, listen, man, y'all need to understand that what they're telling you is not the truth. Like, you need to do a little bit of research and actually find out the truth. I have a smoker tell me.
Yeah, but people don't want to know. Like, here's the thing, a lot of people don't want to know the truth, They can't handle the truth. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, they, you know, because it props up their way of thinking. This propaganda, it props up their way of thinking and to continue smoking. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, they're not interested in whether it's true or not because it suits their cause. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I just think that people just need to do their own research, you know, and they need to read up on stuff. There's no way in the world that the UK government and the Royal College of Physicians and all of these people would say that it's safe, and all of these expert heart surgeons and all of these people, the medical experts, and let's not forget, that's what they are. They are medical experts. Yeah.
Dude, you don't understand how much, like, research from the UK I have to use on a daily basis over here. Like, it's insanity because it's so hard to find facts anywhere in the US because
I can send you plenty, Robert.
Yeah, and I need printable
on the legitimacy of vaping e-cigarette use as a smoking cessation. I'd say there's about 3,000 clinical research papers that are based in the US alone.
Actually, 3, you know what? Why we got a good group of people in here right now? Vinny, can you go ahead and kind of just give us a rundown of the kind of stuff that you found when you did your dissertation?
Yeah, basically, I did. Obviously, a lot of people know I'm a nurse. Well, I'm now a qualified nurse. I wrote my vaping dissertation this last year on the legitimacy of vaping e-cigarette use as a form of smoking cessation. I had access to every clinical research paper over the last 15 years that go back that far. Basically, I struggled to find anything negative. I had to try and argue my point and balance an argument, and I really struggled. But people need, through all the research and everything I got through, people need to understand not to say it's safer. People need to understand to say vaping isn't safer. It's 95% healthier than using a cigarette. That's one thing I want to make clear. Do not use that safe word because it's not safe. There's still a 5% chance it could damage your lungs from proven research. Yeah. That proven research is from the College of Physicians, Public Health England. There's all sorts of papers. There's papers even from India where they've banned vaping completely. If I had my papers with me, I could recall the actual authors. There's Canada, there's Australia, there's New Zealand, there's the States, there's some from China. the global research that's gone into it, especially over the last 10 years. The last 10 years, it really snowballed with the research because obviously it become more popular and severely affected smoking rates. And it's proven it's 25.2% successful compared to traditional nicotine replacement. There was one predictive study, and Robert, you'll like this one, that predicted if every smoker in the state switched to using an e-cigarette, over a 10-year period, there would be 20 million life years saved.
Wow.
20 million life years saved.
Are y'all listening to that? Like that's
just over a 10-year period.
Like that's life changing. That's life changing for human beings. Like that's
staggering, man.
Yeah. Like people wonder, like, man, I see you post all the time, Rabbit. You're constantly talking about, you know, how vaping is better and how people should get off cigarettes and vape and vape. That's because I've done my research. Like I have put in a lot of work to find out the facts about vaping, which is why I got into this industry. I don't just believe that we have an opportunity. To me, we have an obligation. Like we have an obligation to help as many people as we physically can. And anyone who wants to step up and try to take that away from us, we have to fight. And we have to fight as a family together, united for something that we all believe in, regardless of our different views on it, regardless of our different views in life and politics and any of that. Right now, we are fighting for our right to choose to vape. Like that should be the number one priority for anyone who vapes, period.
And I want to add to that, you know, unity is a massive part of this. It doesn't matter what team you're on, what brand you own, what brand you work for, you know, none of that matters anymore. This is a completely separate thing that involves us all. And if we don't fight it and we don't come together, you know the saying, divided we fall. United we stand.
Yep. Yeah, united we stand, divided we fall. And I believe 100%, you know.
And that is more important now than ever. You know, because we are what, 41, 42 million strong across the globe.
Yes,
that's a lot of voices that, you know, one opinion with that amount of people shouting it can make a real difference. Yeah, you know, it's no good 100 people here, 100 people there, you know, scattered. Everybody needs to come together on this one
as a group, as a united front.
You see, we was getting a lot of people in the UK say, I got loads and loads of messages in my little group, on my page. I don't care, it don't affect us. Ireland
it does.
Are looking at it.
It affects me because it affects my friends. And it's a trickle-down effect. Do you know what I'm saying? Shit rolls downhill. Do you know what I mean? It, you know, and it'll trickle down because people are kind of like, you know, they'll see it happening somewhere and they'll think, right, should we do this just in case? Do you know what I mean? Because we don't want to be responsible if they are right. You know, we don't want to be responsible, but I think that people have just got to stand on their own 2 feet here. You know, each country, each individual state, and make informed decisions on what they're doing, because the way that this has gone, you know, and it's all so very, very linked together with the whole the first of all the bans on the Facebook groups and stuff like that, you know, and selling on Facebook and everything. It turns out that you know, Zuckerberg, he's actually heavily invested in the Hail, you know, and so he's one of, from what I've been told, he donated quite a fair bit of money to the Trump campaign, you know, from what I've been told. So, you know, it kind of makes me think that these are all just people that have just got a vested interest in something else, you know, in their own method of doing it. And rather than letting people choose which way they want to do it, it's like this Hail thing. Do you know what? If it works, if it gets people off smoking, right, then I'm for it. right? But what I'm not for is that being the only option, right? Because for some people, they won't like that. I mean, people are saying about the tracking thing on it's bad, and yeah, it is bad. But if you've got location services enabled on your phone, guess what? You're being tracked anyway, right? You make a call, or a text message on your phone, and it'll ping from the nearest cell tower, and it'll tell you exactly where anybody is at any given time. So it's one of these things that, you know, people are saying that that we can't, you know, like this is a breach of our privacy, it's a breach of our rights and stuff. But at the end of the day, that's been happening for quite some time now, you know, with different things. And I mean, yeah, it's bad that it's happening with the vaping scene, but that's just something that's happening across the board. And we got a comment here again from Vic. It's just disappeared now. Here's the situation in the expo kit. About half of the US reviewers who are going over to visit will come from a state where there's a flavor ban or a full ban. Yeah, that's right. You know, like we got Pat coming over, like he's coming over, Pat from Half Moon. You know, he lives in Boston. You know, there's, you know, a lot of other people. Mike Vapes, he's from Boston, right? As far as I know, is that right? Mike
He's
Vapes?
in Mass.
He's in Mass, yeah. I mean, you know, it's like I say, you know, we've got them people, and you know, arguably they're big contributors to the vape industry. You know, Jay Hayes as well. I mean, I called him out a little bit on that last week with what he said, the whole thing, the fuck advocacy thing. But you know, at the end of the day, I know that Jay's a bit of an entertainer, and he says things to get, you know, get to get a reaction and stuff like that, you know, and be controversial and stuff. So you know, but he's actually actively in the fight now, which, you know, is that's the more important thing. Let's forget about the bullshit what people have said. Do you know what I mean? In the past, and let's concentrate.
There's been far too much shit, and you know, going on to what I said last week, that stuff needs to stop being shared, man. It's not part of vaping. It's not what we believe in. Why the hell are we sharing it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Spread something positive. You know what I mean.
I literally,
I was just going to say that for people that don't know, that's what the league is all about. Like, that's legitimately what we're all about. It doesn't matter what company you rep. It doesn't matter what juice you use. It doesn't matter what coils you vape on. Like, none of that matters. Like, to us, to the league, we're all vapers. Like, we want to show unity in vaping, like, period. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. Like, we have to get past that. We have to rise above all of that stuff and focus on the number one fact. And the fact is vaping helps save lives. And that's the facts. Like, that is straight up. Like, no one says it's freaking healthy. It's good. You should start vaping. It will make you healthier. No, but it is 100. I'm going to say it. 100% better than smoking cigarettes. Yeah. We know for a fact cigarettes kill people. Like, they do. Like, we know this. Like, it's documented. And people still look at me and say, hey, I saw on the news that that's killing people. Listen, you have a cigarette hanging out of your mouth. Like, they killed almost 500,000 people last year. Like, that should be the epidemic. Like, this is 2019. Like, how are we not focusing on change and something for the future? Why are we still trying to backpedal and go back to combustible cigarettes? Like, we're past that. Let's move past it. Let's look for a brighter day. Like, not to sound cheesy, but that's what we need. Like, we have a chance here to move into the future and away from that shit. And we need to focus on that. We need to try to, it's hard to put it into words, but we have to find a way to get more people to understand that we're making a change. Like, we are focusing on something better, something that's life-changing, something that could really make a difference. And they're trying to take it from us. Like, you're not going to take it from us. It's not going to happen. I don't give a shit if you outlaw it all over. We will still vape. I'm still going to vape bakery flavors. I will still find them. You might make it a little bit less safe for me, but I'm still going to find them. So instead of trying to destroy it and take it from us, let's work together on the actual issues and fight as a unit and make a change for the better. Let's change things for the better. Let's stop doing this regression back to the same old shit. Let's focus on a better solution for the future. That's what we need to do, in my opinion.
And at the end of the day, remember the reasons why, you know, they're giving the, you know, oh, it's child appeal, you know, selling to kids, you know, the THC, You know, at the end of the day, we don't believe in that ourselves. This is what the vape industry has been trying to fight against, to not allow into our community. We don't want it in our community.
Anyone that tries to join any group that I'm anything to do with, right, if they look, right, that they might even be under the age of 25, they get asked for ID, right? And they can blank out the bits on their driving or whatever like that. And, you know, so there's no information. But if they won't do that, then they do not get into
They don't want it.
No, and that's that. You know, and that's their choice. And, you know, there's going to be arguments from people. I remember Tracy said before about, you know, it's hard. Some people haven't got ID and this and that and the other. But, you know, at the end of the day, what are we going to do? We're going to put the whole industry at risk because of a couple of people that can't get ID or together or something. Unfortunately, it's a little bit bigger than one person. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and that's the way that we got to look at it. And as much as I want everybody to be involved, right, if they can't prove that they're of legal age to do it, then they're not coming in the groups and they're not getting involved because that's just going to put us in a negative light. And, you know, I mean, like Vic's just said something a little while back there where he says, you know, another thing we need to think about, the US vape expo scene is now effectively dead in the water. I'll say this, that once they banned the giveaways at the American Vape Expo, then literally only half of the amount of people started going because all the Team Free shit guys, they weren't getting loads of stuff for nothing. So they weren't going. They weren't going to go somewhere, paid to travel there, paid to stay in a hotel or whatever they're doing, paid to get into the event and then not get anything back, which, you know, I don't, you know, like agree with the whole free stuff and all this kind of thing. But at the same time, I can sort of see why a lot of people have stopped going. And, you know, and it was Ariel that was telling us about that before, you know, he was just like, he was saying to us that, you know, it's crazy because you can't give, like, literally you can't give it away. You can't give any vape stuff away for free in the US as far as I'm aware. You know, it's so I think that surely and slowly and silently they've been killing off that the vape expos in the United States over a period of time. Like, you know, that's something that's already been going on. And as much as, you know, I'd love to blame this whole thing on it, but you know, there's other factors involved. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Well, that's my outlook on it anyway. I'll tell you one thing though. I had a guy that's bought coils off me for the last 2 years, right? And he'd asked me to make him some builds, particular builds that he wanted. And you know, I because I broke my hand, I hadn't got round to doing him. So I didn't doing him. I hadn't got round to doing them. And basically what happened was I messaged him and I was like, I was like, bro, I was like, look, I'm really sorry, you know, I'd like, but my hand's a bit better now. I'm back to building. So I'll get you them coils. And he's like, Andy, mate, he said, I'm off the vapes. And he was like, all this stuff that's going on. He said, I'm off vapes. I'm like, so what have you gone to? Patches, gum? He's like, no, I'm back smoking Golden Virginia tobacco, like, you know, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, man, you know what? It literally made me so fucking angry. I mean, excuse my language, but like, for fuck's sake. I mean, what, you know, and I don't know whether that's because he in reality really wanted to go back to smoking all along, but just went along with the vaping thing because his wife or something made him do it because it was a healthier option, you know. And now he's turned around and said, well, look, it's not a healthier option, you know, because you don't know what goes on inside everyone's head. You know, and you know, but it's like I've said before, everybody, even if you're not a smoker, even if you're not a vapor, you know somebody who's a smoker that matters to you, right? They matter to somebody. They're somebody's mother, they're somebody's brother, they're somebody's son, daughter, grandparent, right? So let's not just be selfish here and think of like just one or two people. Let's actually think about it along the lines of we're trying to help people get off this disgusting fucking habit of smoking cigarettes. You know, and that's what it's about. And at the end of the day, anybody out there that is actively sort of campaigning on Facebook as a private citizen, you know, they're nothing to do with any tobacco companies or anything, but they're actively putting it down. Oh my God. I thought that was
Sorry.
I thought you had an ex-girlfriend there. But yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of stupidity about, you know, and it seems to me that like people just want to have an opinion even though they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're going to
That's
come
the
to
epidemic.
yeah, that's the epidemic.
Yeah.
That is the epidemic.
Yeah.
And you know what? I remember you saying last week, Rabbit, about the whole epidemic word, right? Now, the last time I really saw that pushed that hard was with the crack epidemic, with Freeway Ricky Ross. Do you know what I mean? The whole Contra bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Like that was it's an epidemic, it's an epidemic, it's an epidemic. And this is starting to look along the same lines as that with the language that they're using. You know, so it's just like the epidemic here is of stupidness. That's the fucking epidemic, right? Is if they well, it's not an epidemic, it's a lack of common sense and general intelligence, because people want to look at Lad Bible and people like that to, you know, get their sort of news from, and it's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. I mean,
what you got to remember is, right, last 12 months, you had what, just under 500,000 deaths through smoking. 2019, you've had what, I think it stands at 13 deaths via black market THC. 15 years of vaping, 0.
Okay, so this is something that Kate actually put together, Nate's wife, Rabbit's wife, put together, and it's the real truth about youth vaping in Florida. All numbers provided by Florida Department of Health Youth Tobacco Survey. Regular users equal vaped or smoked one time in the previous 30 days. Please note this is for your youth, 11 to 17, school-age children, which includes legal adults who are still in high school. We're going to have to do the math and find the truth. 15.7% of youth, 11 to 17-year-olds vaped one time in the past 30 days. 11.2% of this 15.7% of regular users also smoked during this 30-day period as well, which means that 13.9% experimented with vapor delivery exclusively one time in the past 30 days. Now, it says here, stay with me here. The survey allows multiple answers on this question. 49.4% of regular users vaped nicotine products. 33.4% vaped THC or hash oil. 5% vaped both salts, flakka, spice, and K2. 40.7% answered none of the above and not sure. The math, 13.9% minus 50.6% non-nic vaping equals 6.86% of Florida youth experimented with electronic nicotine delivery systems. Now it goes on now, youth nicotine use comparison. Now this is something that Ariel actually touched on one of our earlier shows, when he said the actual number of new smokers and vapors, it hadn't gone up. It's not like there's an epidemic of kids out there that are going, you know, I'm going to start vaping because it's cool, because they're the same kids that would have started smoking. The numbers have stayed the same. The difference is some of them are vaping instead of smoking cigarettes, but the overall number of new people that are using nicotine products is how I'm going to call this. That number has not moved. Okay, so this epidemic
it's gone up by 0.8%.
Yeah.
From 2011 to the present day, it's gone up by 0.9% or something like that.
So
Yeah.
they went from a killer to a healthier alternative.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I honestly just believe that at the end of the day, people should be able to make that choice for themselves. I mean, I know there's a lot of stupid people out there that won't, right? And they look to other people for guidance. You need to stop being sheep. Do you know what I'm saying? You need to stop being sheep and being rounded up and being corralled into how can I say it? Just fucking being stupid and just following blindly. Just open your eyes, people. You know, it's just
People are being offered a healthier option as a choice. Make an educated choice by reading the facts.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think, you know, that, I mean, this is something I want to look at is the numbers. I don't know whether you'll have these, Vinny, or not. But what are the numbers of people that are using nicotine patches now compared to, say, 5 years ago or 10 years ago? I mean, you know, that's something that we got. Yeah, of course it's decreased, but are they actually allowing them numbers out there for us to see, to show for a fact that, you know, that it's actually, it's making a difference?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to mention, who knows if the numbers are real.
In the UK. And the biggest thing they're pushing through the Stoptober campaign, Rabbit, you won't know about this. Our NHS, our healthcare system, every October does a Stoptober. And this year, the main thing they're going to push for stopping smoking in October is vapes, is electronic cigarettes. That is going to be their spearhead for the campaign through Stoptober is vape devices.
Yeah.
That's just
not traditional nicotine replacement. I mean, themselves, when you compare vaping success compared to nicotine replacement 100% successful, and electronic cigarettes on 2% speaks for itself.
Yeah. And let's not go into the other figure. I believe it was 500 deaths last year using a nicotine replacement.
Mm-hmm.
That being the Chantix.
Yeah.
500, not just deaths, but suicide.
Yeah, it causes severe depression. So if you already have an underlying depression, it causes it to exacerbate dramatically. It takes people from, say you feel down a little bit all the time. If you start taking it, it takes you into a hole of depression to the point where you just want an outlet, and the only thing you can think of because you're sick is to take your own life, which is sad. Yeah. But that also is a drug that's FDA approved. So there you go.
I mean, you know, I've had some bad reactions to certain. No, I was just saying, prescribed drugs from the doctors and stuff like that. Pregabalin, I had a really bad reaction to that. My hands and feet swelled up like balloons, and it actually made me suicidal. I nearly took my own life. Literally, I'm not even joking, you know, and that was prescribed by the doctor. And the amount of people in the UK that are on that type of medication is quite substantial amount of people, you know. Fortunately for me, in some ways, I do have reactions to a lot of meds, you know. So for me, it's quite a good thing because I'm on enough already. And, you know, they'd be, if I didn't have these bad reactions to them, they'd be shoveling more down my throat to keep me quiet, because this is the way that our doctors work in the UK. Is you go to the doctor, they write you out a prescription for their pharmaceutical heroin, and they send you off on your way and hope that you just shut the fuck up and don't come back. And that is literally what they do. I mean, you know, I had to go down in the end to get an MRI when I burst the disc in, when I popped 2 discs out right at the very base of my spine, and one of them burst. The fecal sac burst, and it's full of acidic material, and it's scarred all the nerves down my left-hand side, and my left leg doesn't work half. I've got about 50% power and about 50% range of motion. I've got no reflex in my heel and stuff like that. I've got what they call drop foot, you know, and it's one of these things that it took me 6 months, right,
to get an MRI, right? And, you know, they knew what was wrong, but basically it took me ringing an ambulance and getting rushed into hospital because I basically had no control over my bladder anymore, because that part of my body was completely fucked up at that point. Do you know what I mean? And like, they were worried it was this much more serious condition. If it does it, it's called cordia equina, which is if you don't get that operated on in 24 to 48 hours of that onset of the bladder control, you can end up paralyzed from the waist down. So they rushed me into hospital for that, did the MRI, saw it wasn't that, and I had to wait another 6 months from my actual operation. You know, and in that time, that's when the disc burst. So like, you know, the NHS, yeah, okay, it's great that we've got free healthcare and stuff, but it is not perfect. Do you know what I'm saying? And no offense, Vinny, I know that you work with them and everything, but you know, it isn't perfect. It works really well for some people. Other people get the short end of the stick, you know.
Man, you should totally come over to the US and check out our healthcare.
Yeah,
I couldn't afford your healthcare,
dude. If you're not rich over here, like, I'm not kidding. If you're not rich over here and you get really sick, like to the point where you have to have like some serious surgery or something done, you either deal with it or you're in debt for the rest of your life. And then guess what happens when you die? Your family picks up your debt.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's just horrendous. I mean, like, I know for a fact that, you know, if people have got good health insurance in America or whatever, if they have a problem like mine, they go to the emergency room, they do a whole MRI on their whole spine. Do you know what I mean? Because
if you pay for it, you have to pay for it out the ass.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they do that. With me, they MRI'd that much of my spine at the bottom. You know what I mean? No, like, they didn't look at the top half of my spine until a year later. And then they realised that I've got spinal scoliosis as well, which they could have noticed that at the top. Do you know what I mean? If they'd have just done it all in one go, but because the way they penny pinch over here to try and, do you know what I mean, spread the money about due to the unique way that our health service is funded, basically they do cut corners in some ways and hope, you know, that people will just put up with. Like, I know people that have got problems like mine that have been waiting for years for any sort of, they can't even get an MRI. Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, and like that's the thing. But I do believe in the NHS and it being a good thing. You know, I do believe that it's a good thing, you know, for everybody to have access to healthcare. I think that's great. You know, certainly my sister suffered really, really bad and still is. And, you know, she gets looked after by the NHS. So for that, I'm grateful, you know. But at the same time, some of the doctors, I've had doctors say to me about vaping, you know, like, you know, NHS doctors have said to me, like, do you still smoke? And I'm like, no, I haven't smoked for years. I vape. And they're like, well, you know, there's not enough information and this, that, the other. And they are NHS doctors. So, but do you know what I mean? So at the same time as we've got, you know, the majority behind us over here, there are still a lot of naysayers. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are still a lot of people like that's what I call them, as the naysayers, like, you know, that just want to say everything is you know. I'm just looking at some of the comments that we got in here now.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Ryan Fro, he put in that Chantix nearly killed him. So all I can say is, good that you're still around, bro.
Yeah. Love you, Ryan.
In
answer to Nasty Coils with the Rabbit and Zippy Broman, stand straight, man. I'm waiting for him to come over to the UK.
Yeah, that's my boo. That's my boo right there.
Isn't it, man? You know that.
Hey,
you gotta come over at some point, guys. You gotta come over. You guys have got to come.
Oh over. Yeah, you already know we're gonna make a trip over there. I gotta come see all y'all. But my wife is wanting me to talk about something that we're working on locally in hopes that maybe it will ignite some ideas for other states that are dealing with this, that we're, you know, that's going on in the US. I showed it to you guys earlier, just something that we worked up that we're going to send out to shop owners in our area. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It starts off with, dear shop owner and advocate, we are looking to form an educational coalition locally in the state of Tennessee, with the fear mongering surrounding this industry, we feel the need to further educate the public and our local residents with the facts is a must. This will, in part, help achieve a more unified understanding of difference in device types, proper safety and handling, how the industry was formed and developed over time, the overall aim of harm reduction associated with traditional combustible tobacco, and many other talking points. So basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just kind of skim over it. But basically, we're trying to bring a group of local shops, as many as we can get. We don't care how many, just whoever wants to get involved. And we're going to try to hold a type of conference. And we're going to have flyers made that we can put at each shop that they can give to their customers. And I guarantee you every vapor in the US has at least one or two people, friends or family members, that are, saying to them, hey, I'm watching the news and it says that's bad or whatever. So our goal is to try to get these vapors to maybe bring, 2 or 3 of these friends or family members to this event and use it as a tool to try to help educate people that maybe don't have the facts. So what I'm thinking about doing is getting with you, Vinny, this week and have you send me all the different research and stuff that you had access to, so I can print it off and make some pamphlets that we can actually hand out and give to people. I know this is just a local thing for us, so it's just our state, but it's kind of in hopes that other states will kind of take this and run with it and do the same thing. We're not looking for our names to be on it. We're not looking for our logo to be on it. Like, this is strictly about trying to help save vaping. None of that other stuff really matters to us. The guys that know me and my wife, they know that we don't give a shit about people knowing who we are or our shop's name, none of that shit. Like, we love this industry with everything we have, and we will continue to fight for it. And this is just something that we came up with that we thought would help our area. And honestly, I think it would help all areas. Not just in the US, I think everywhere, like the UK, India, Ireland, any country that is vaping needs to have these educational seminars to help enlighten people on the facts about vaping. So if there ever is another media scare, people can go, well, wait a minute, I have facts right here from research that they did at the Royal College of Physicians. So I know for a fact that this isn't true because I can see the actual hard evidence. I think if we can combat it that way, it's going to be a lot harder for them to turn people against us when they can actually see the facts. So, we can look at comments and I can get y'all's opinion on what y'all think, but this is just an idea that we had that we think would be a beneficial for the cause.
It's a brilliant idea. I think it's a brilliant idea, and hats off to you, man.
Yeah.
I agree. It does need to go stateside, and it needs to go, from here, everywhere. It's something that all communities can do.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is a worldwide phenomenon. This is, you know what I mean? This is like, as far as I'm concerned, this is a worldwide anti-smoking revolution. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're trying to shut us down, for the sake of profit. Do you know what I mean? They're putting human life, below money, and as far as
let's narrow that comment down. They're putting people's lives over a packet of cigarettes. Under a packet of cigarettes. Yep. That's the long and short of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? This isn't about thousands and thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands. This is about a £10 packet of fags.
And the way I see it is, with the tobacco companies that are getting involved in the vaping side of things and everything like that. I mean, come on, man. That is literally like giving people the disease and selling them the fucking cure. I mean, like that to me is just fucking, with one for a better word, it's just fucking stupid and scandalous. Do you know what I mean? And this whole thing is disheartening, dishonest. It's just, the whole way that, it's been done is just so underhanded. That. And you could see this is a coordinated attack.
Like I say, with the way that it's gone with the Facebook thing, you know, and the instant, do you know what I mean? All of this stuff. And then, you know, the flavor ban comes in one place, and then a full vaping ban comes in another, and they say, oh, this is temporary. This is just temporary until we can find out more information.
This isn't temporary.
What about my friends? What about my friends like Rabbit, like Pat, like Aaron? What about all of these people that are being affected by it, you know? And I know other people can say, well, you know, like, you know, that's all you give a shit about is your friends making money. No, it's not. What I give a shit about is that they are being taken away the opportunity to help other people get off smoking. You know, and I can't stress enough how important that is. Do you know what I mean? This is not about people getting rich off vaping, right? That is not. You know, I'd give people my stuff for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Well, not
vaping is not big business.
No,
it's not.
I mean,
dude, I've been accused this week, right, of only doing advocacy because of the teams I represent.
Oh yeah, I've had
and all I can say to that is bollocks, because Rabbit, Pat, Vinny, Andy, anybody who I am connected to is family, because they're more than brands. These people are here when I need them. Whether it be, you know, I said in a video the other day, if it's somebody to chat to, if it's somebody to vent at, if it's somebody just to have a damn good laugh with, each one of them is always there. That's what this is about.
Yeah,
not any brand I represent. So if anybody's going to come to me with that crap, change it, because I will change it for you. Because nobody who says that to me belongs anywhere near anything I've got to do with. This is family. This is personal.
And you know, I can't stress how much the vape scene has helped me. The vape community has helped me. I mean, like, I've been going through some shit lately. I always seem to be going through some shit. It's a bit of a recurring theme with me, but you know what I'm saying? Like, literally, Zippy every day hits me up. Vincent every day hits me up. Rabbit, I speak to you on a daily. You know what I'm saying? It's like, people, like, if I'm not on, if they don't see me on Facebook Messenger or on Facebook for like a few hours, like, I'm getting messages off people from the other side of the world. Boain, are you good, bro? What's going on? Do you know? And like, that to me is, you know, that's no small thing, because, you know, like 3 years ago, man, I wasn't even getting out of bed unless I had to go to the toilet. Man, that's the God's honest truth of it, you know. And getting involved, like, the more I got involved with the vaping industry and the people involved in it, it just kind of pulled me out of a deep, dark hole of depression, you know, because, and it's not like my physical shit or my mental health issues have got any better, right? But I'm able to manage it better because it's giving me something that's making me want to get up and make me want to actually advocate. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's something I believe in so much. And Kate Allen, that's right. This is family, and family stick together and help out no matter what. And blood is thicker than water. And the way I see it is, every single vapor is is a member of my family. I mean, you know, who's that comedian that did that fucking stupid sketch with Vape Dad? Anybody else see that bullshit thing? And it was just this guy coming in, he was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna get my steam on, and all this, calling everybody fam and all this kind of stuff, and it was just fucking pathetic, you know. And you know, it's kind of like, I could kind of see, like, if all of this shit wasn't going on right now, I would have found that quite funny, you know what I'm saying? Because it was quite funny the way the guy was talking and stuff like that, and you know, and it was kind of funny, but they're making light of a serious fucking issue here, and that pisses me off, you know. It just really is. Nasty coils. I mean, I don't know if you know, I Sub-Zero coils, that's me. They're exactly the same thing. You know, I spent all that time on my own, sat here in the middle of nowhere, and I decided I was going to teach myself how to build coils, and that's what I did. And then I started selling coils on eBay. and a guy called Liam Critchley, who is still a good friend of mine to this day. And rings me up all the time. I'll probably have a phone call off him about 1 o'clock tonight, as usual. And
Rabbit, stop teasing me, man.
Sorry,
Andy.
He's doing a truffle shopping now, man. Fucking hell.
Oh yeah.
It's like, Liam said to me, this is how I got involved in the vape community, should I say, was a guy called Liam Critchley, who's a Northern Monkey from up his up the way. He's one of Vinny's greyhound whippet racing pie eating bunch, like, you know what I mean? Basically, he bought some coils off me off eBay, and he said to me, bro, he said, I've got a little vape group, and it is a little vape group, lab. It is a little vape group, it's like not even 1,000 members. He said to me, look, he was like, if you want to come, he said, I'm going to put a thing about your coils on there and tell people about how good your coils are and stuff. So that's the only reason I joined a vape group. That's the only reason. I've been vaping a while, but I weren't involved in the community. And from that, it just snowballed. And now I've got these friends all over the world that, are there for me. Vinny as well. I mean, like, this is how we all met. It's like, look, right, let's look at it like this. Everybody that's involved in the league would not know each other if it wasn't for vaping.
Yeah.
No.
Right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Pure and simple.
Like all of these people here, we're all talking here, in the chat and everything. But we would not know each other if it was not for this industry. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so, like, that for me, the community spirit, and that's what they're trying to break. Is the community side of it? That's what I honestly believe is that they've seen how people have all come together from all over the world. And Paul, do you know what I mean? It was me and Tom that got me introduced to the groups when he joined the vape then. Do you know what I mean? It was like I got Paul on there as a moderator and as an admin, and now he's on teams with me, and and this is the way it is. Yeah, I know he's a fake Northerner. He's not like a proper Northerner. I mean, it's a lot of pies, but I don't know whether that qualifies as being a Northerner or not. I don't know.
I can't see the comments, man, so you're gonna have to flash some up.
No,
I apologise. I've come off the back of a 12-hour shift. I had one yesterday, and I've had a 12-hour shift today.
It's just banter to me. Where's Rabbit gone?
He's going to slip in something comfortable for me, I bet.
I came notice when I vape up my nose in front of Endless last year. Yeah, I mean, like, stupid shit like that. I mean, like some of the funny stuff, like the call outs and everything. I mean, like with Immortal Mods, we have like open season on the prospects, and we hammer them. It's like I'll do like 10 nose rips, and they've got to do them back. Do you know what I mean? And all that kind of stuff. And and it's just and this is the thing. It's all about having fun. Nasty coil.
Yeah, look.
It's shaving.
Mine has as well in the last couple of months, mate. But this is all I've got to do now. It's just I found that when I get really bad with my demons, that it is the people in the vape community that have actually been there for me more than people I've known all my life. And that's the God's honest fucking truth, It's I can't say.
I'll just do it to wind you up.
Well, yeah.
It's like, I'm bored. Who shall I ring? Yeah, Andy.
I mean, it's like,
guaranteed we end up on the phone for 3 or 4 hours at a time, man. I speak more to you than I do my own missus.
Reps, but me and Acapella, we were on the phone for like nearly 6.5 hours the other day. Just like about, do you know what I mean? Just about loads of different things, like and like from pedigree dogs to vaping to literally absolutely anything you could think about. But
in case you hadn't noticed, I love to talk. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Damn straight.
Yeah. Well, you know,
You
Yeah,
don't say.
Who wants to wrap tonight's show up, man? Who wants the final word tonight?
I reckon we should give final word to Rabbit, man,
Go on.
because
Any
obviously this is.
volunteers?
All right. I mean, yeah, I can do that.
On the spot. Come on.
Or anything like, you know, but
Off the cuff, you know how it is.
Okay, so honestly, I just want to say that, like we always.
Ah, come on. I know he was put on the spot, but God.
yeah,
Never done.
He's back.
I changed rooms. I moved downstairs. But yeah, I just want to say that we love all you guys, all you leaguers, all you guys that check in here with us and spend time with us. We're fighting for every one of you. We fight 24/7. If you don't see us blowing up stuff on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, you better believe we're on email or on our telephones making phone calls. We're doing everything we can in the U.S. to keep this fight going. I know that there is a large amount of companies in the U.S. that supply a lot for vaping, and none of us are giving up. It's sad what's going on over here right now. It's kind of mind blowing, but none of us are gonna stop. They're not gonna take my vape away. It's just not gonna happen, and they're not gonna make me quit helping people, because that's what I love to do. That's what I got into this for, and that's what I'm gonna continue to do. So keep showing your support. We also want to real quick. I just want to talk about something. We're actually gonna have a email set up for the leaguers. So all you guys that click in here and check on us, we're going to have an email set up where y'all can send in any questions you have for us that you want us to talk about on the show, any stuff that you want us to bring up, anything. You can just you can send us an email and say, hey, great show. We love you guys. Anything. It's going to be an email for all of us that can actually read them. So we got some other big things we're working on for the league. Some merch, things like that. So just keep your eyes open. We want to do everything we can to get our voice heard. We want to do everything we can to push the league so people can see that we are a family of vapors across the globe that are fighting together. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter where you live at. It doesn't matter what team you rep, what juice you vape. None of that's important. The simple fact is we don't smoke anymore. We choose to vape, and that's what we're fighting for. So that's all I have to say. I love all you guys, and keep
Always, man.
And we love all you leaguers. 100.
welcome to the revolution, because that is
Yeah, man.
this is. Welcome to the revolution, people. Do you know what I mean? Do not let them quiet. Do not let them shut us up. Do not let them shut us down. They ain't gonna shut me up. That much I can fucking tell you.
We've tried.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
We'll be back next Sunday, 6:30 GMT.
Yeah, man.
My co-panelists remember to show up on time this time, or aren't working. And this is just on a dry hit, I think. But yeah, we'll be back. Everyone, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, spread the word. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take it easy.
See ya.
Easy, man.
Why does it always do that?
Because you're in control.